Sometimes I feel like I'm the only person who actually reads the standards for these competitions. Recently, Wodapalooza had their online qualifiers, and for the team version, there were two workouts where if you actually perform the movements to the standards that were listed on the movement standards on the website, you would be at a severe disadvantage because nobody else is doing them to those standards. So let me show you. Okay, so let's look at this event, workout 5. This event has devil's presses that go right into dumbbell thrusters. Okay, for every athlete, at some point they do devil's presses into dumbbell thrusters. So you would think that you could just do your devil's press, get the dumbbells up overhead, and then drop from there right into your thrusters and go into your set of thrusters. That'd be cool. That kind of seems like that's the way this workout is designed, and it like creates a nice flow for this workout. So I would believe that most people would just do that. However, I'm gonna start looking at the movement standards just to make sure. So you scroll down here, devil's press, okay, pretty standard. Then you get to the dumbbell thrusters. This movement begins with the dumbbells on the ground. Okay, so I guess that means that you can't finish the devil's press from above and then go right from the devil's press with the dumbbells overhead right into your dumbbell thrusters, okay? So then I'm like, all right, well, maybe later on it'll put a little clause that says like you can just go right into it if you're going from the devil's press. But if you read down, that's not the case. It's simply not the case. So just the very first sentence, this movement begins with the dumbbells on the ground. Okay, so that puts you in this weird spot. It's like, okay, this is a dilemma. Am I gonna do the devil's press, then set the dumbbells down, and then pick it up and do a cluster or whatever for my first rep on the thrusters? That seems incredibly slow, but I guess we're all in this together, so if everybody has to do it, that's fine. But then if you scroll up and watch this video, you can kind of see in the background they're demonstrating this workout. You can see in the background they're demonstrating this workout. Look, so these guys are going straight from the devil's press into the thrusters. Okay, so then that's contradictory. Below it says that the reps have to start on the ground, but these people, even in the demonstration video, are dropping right into it. So then it's just this, it creates this gray area that doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, if I'm gonna do it the way it's written, then I'm inevitably gonna be significantly slower than everybody else that's just not gonna do it that way. But are they gonna end up no-repping everybody else? I doubt it, and the answer is no, they didn't. So, reading through this, I really wish that they would, think through every possibility. I know it's gotta be hard, but in this sense, it makes perfect sense. The dumbbell thrusters actually can start at the top of the devil's press because that's the movement before it. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is a problem that I've had with this movement since the beginning. This workout 6, it's got a crap ton of dumbbell snatches. Okay, we've all been doing dumbbell snatches for years and years since they were in the open. Okay, pretty straightforward. But in the old days in the open, you couldn't transfer the dumbbell above your head. Okay, but they actually changed that later. So let's just quickly look at the movement standards for the dumbbell snatch. Dumbbell snatch starts with the dumbbell on the ground and finishes with the dumbbell directly overhead. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Both heads must touch. Athletes must alternate arms. The dumbbell must be lowered below the top of the athlete's head before switching hands for the next rep. This is the issue I have because nobody does this. If you watch any videos of all of the top athletes, they're all switching the dumbbell above their head. Okay, let's look up at this video. All right, literally the first rep demonstrated in this video, Jason Hopper does not bring the dumbbell below the top of his head before he transfers it. So Obviously, it's faster and, in my mind, significantly easier to just switch the dumbbell overhead or switch it on the way down quickly, okay? The only way that you can truly get the dumbbell below the top of your head is to do it super deliberately on the way down. What I was doing is tapping the dumbbell to my shoulder and then switching hands, okay? So, once again, you create this dilemma where either you do it to the standard that's written and go slower, knowing that everybody else is not going to do that and your score's going to suck, or you just concede and be like, well, I'm just going to do what everybody else did and not follow the rules. Or the third option is you're going to make a YouTube video complaining about it, which is what I chose to do. I don't know, it's just, I hate this rule because it creates such a gray area. The dumbbell must be lowered below the top of the athlete's head before switching hands for the next rep. So that to me means the entire dumbbell needs to get below the top of your head, okay? So hands at least eye level, most likely lower, before you can start switching, okay? You can't drop from overhead. You have to deliberately bring it down and switch way down here. But nobody's doing that, okay? Everybody who's going fast on this workout is actually transferring the dumbbell overhead, especially with the lighter one. I understand that this rule is probably for safety, right? They don't want people dropping the dumbbell on top of their head when trying to transfer. But the fact of the matter is, by creating this weird little rule that nobody follows and which also has quite a bit of gray area, it's just muddying up the standards. Standards should be black and white, right? Both dumbbell heads touch the ground, it goes up and doesn't touch any other part of your body on the way up, and then you lock out overhead. There's inherent risk in doing these workouts, and if we were to change the rules for every single movement to make them as safe as possible, then it would just make the movements super wonky and nobody would perform them to the right standard, okay? People who are good at dumbbell snatches are transferring it well above their head, and now you can do that in the games. I bet at least the majority, but probably 95% of people didn't even read this rule, and I'm seeing people all over Instagram posting videos of them doing it wrong. So, in general, what is the purpose of this video? I think that we need to hold these competitions to a higher standard, and the movement standards and the rules need to be cohesive and well thought out so that there's not this gray area, or you're not put in a moral dilemma of, do I follow this because I actually read it and that's what it says, or do I not follow it because nobody else is going to and they're not actually going to enforce it? Okay, tough call, but we shouldn't have movement standards that are gray areas or just blatantly different than what the video demonstrating them is showing. Thanks for watching.